What's going on, guys? Sean Don coming back with a technical analysis. Here we have, yet again, a new online coaching athlete client, whatever you'd like to call it, of mine, SDTC. I don't know what I'm calling my coaching business nowadays, but yeah, Dillon is a new online athlete, high schooler, hammer thrower, clearly. So, yeah, this is his introductory technical analysis, and it will help me figure out what drills and what hammers to program for him over the next couple months while I get to work with him. So, let's take a look. Dillon is 6'2", pretty tall, well, relatively tall for a high schooler, I'd say. Good size. Plenty of potential for the hammer being that tall. Probably long wingspan. Hopefully it's longer than his height. He's got long legs. Looks like, kind of like me. So yeah. Overall, pretty solid movement. Let's break it down. So, being so tall and having longer legs, you can see you don't quite get down deep into the legs, Dillon, but that'll come with time. I didn't really felt like I got down into my legs until like my 7th year throwing hammers, so you got some time. So preliminary swing, turn back. You can see this right elbow really close to the body. Hands are pretty close to the body in the winds. I think that's something that we can change that'll help you out a little bit. Same thing, you can see the hands are kind of right in front of your body, nice and tight. You kind of want them out, in my opinion, you want them out away from you, big radius. You want to make big winds, big circles. Turning the shoulders back pretty good. You can maybe turn the head back a little bit more, maybe widen the stance up a little bit, being so tall. Help with stability a little bit. Higher center of gravity means a little bit wider base will help. Turning back, the shoulder's pretty good here. You can maybe try turning your head back to the right a little bit more towards 270. But then, like I said, your hands are just pretty close to your body, so your elbow also comes very close to your body, is right on your rib cage. In my opinion, you want this elbow up and out. Like I said, you want to reach out. You want big winds. I think a good person to look at for this is Paul Fidek. He does a very good job of keeping his hands up and out in the winds, and especially in the entry. I'm not a huge fan of this right elbow right by the rib cage on the entry. I feel like that kind of hampers connection a little bit, and then causes that left side to do a little bit more work. And then it also makes you kind of connect late. So as you can see, this right elbow doesn't straighten out until about there. Ideally, you'd like to see the right elbow at least straighter, probably like right about there, at least before you get to zero. You can see you kind of settle back into the throw pretty good. You do 3 heel turns. You settle back into the throw. Looks like posture is pretty good. Hips are underneath you. Shoulders are level. Hips are level. When you're throwing these chain hammers, they have a little bit more drag. So it's hard for the hammer to get to zero while you're also at zero. So it's understandable. That'd be something to work on, though. But just be a little bit more patient in the entry and let the hammer kind of take you in and around to the left. But still not bad. I think we could definitely work on your rhythm and your winds. There's a little bit of acceleration in there. So yeah, I think if we changed up the rhythm of your winds and entry a little bit, it would help the rhythm of the throw as well. But that'll come with time. Once again, that's kind of a patience thing rather than a try to work faster thing. It's just relaxing more and being more patient for the hammer. Like I said, I think the biggest thing we need to work on in the entry right now is that elbow up and out, and then getting this right leg to work a little bit better, because as you can see, as you come through, you want this right leg, this right femur to kind of turn with the hammer, and as you can see, it doesn't do much until there. So a couple frames without that right leg really working, you can see you shift back, and this is the same problem I had when I was doing 3 heel turns. I always was super straight on this left leg, and you kind of have the same tendency, once again being taller and coming off that heel turn. So yeah, you can see this left leg, this right leg turns a little bit, you're doing something, but then this left foot is what really goes ahead of the hammer. You can see this left leg straightens out. You turn that foot to 180. Hammer's at 90, and that right leg is also at 90. You want this right leg and this left leg both at 90, in my opinion, with the hammer. And you kind of lift just a little bit. Got to try to relax those arms a little bit more. And then you're kind of spinning out here. You're not getting much weight back against the hammer in single support. So then you come around and catch. Posture's good. Right hip is underneath you. That's good. You're over the left side pretty well. But then you can see you kind of can't land. And by the time your foot actually comes down, you catch just at 270. I'd like to see that a little bit deeper. We'll work on that. I think if you had a little bit more, if you threw the hammer a little bit more forwards, and you'd feel the ball pull you a little bit more towards the sector, and you stepped forwards rather than around. You want to try to step forwards towards 180 just a little bit, and the hammer pulls you around. The hammer creates that rotational energy. You need to be more, a little bit more linear. And you can see, because you land a little bit late, you're going to see some tension come up in the shoulders to try to keep connection. And then same thing, since you were so high on that left leg in the first turn, that left heel doesn't come down until about just after 0. Ideally, you want this left heel to come down just about there, maybe a little bit earlier. I think the earlier that heel comes down, the better, to an extent, as long as you're not really clamping down on that left side, because that can also cause you to pull the left side more. But yeah, you can see some tension up in the shoulders, a little tight. Left heel comes down. Left side's doing most of the turning here, so this right leg is, you can see how this knee is inside of the foot, and this foot is pointed out rather than with the knee. Once again, kind of, you want this right leg turning with the hammer. Same thing, you're going to kind of lift up, slide that left foot open, left leg super straight. So we need to keep this left knee more bent. You can see this right foot kind of comes off. I mean, yeah, it's on the ground for a long time, but is it being effective for a long time? That's the question you need to ask. And then you can see that tension up in the shoulders again. As you mentioned, you were thinking about dropping the hips, I think, and I think that's kind of a good cue. I like to think about dropping the left knee down towards the ground, towards 180, because that left knee, it's hard to drop the hips without bending the leg. So you got to bend that left leg a little bit more. And you can see you're just kind of spinning out here. And then so now you get more in the direction of the sector, but I think that's because of just your movement in single support. I don't think it's necessarily because the ball's pulling you forwards. You look very rotational and kind of tight in the upper body. And then once you catch this deep, this is really hard to come back from, because as you can see, your right toe is probably in line with your left heel. You can kind of see based on your shadow here. Yeah, you catch a little bit deeper here, which is good. You're making progress. But that left heel comes down, and it's kind of hard to work that right leg around into the throw, and especially work that right hip up into the throw when it's this deep back into the sector. A little tension here. You could see, once again, try to relax those arms a little bit more. And then same thing, this left side's doing most of the action. This right foot, once again, is pointed back towards before 0, while the hammer's getting to 90, still at 90. Yeah, so we need to get this right leg turning with the hammer. So I'm going to prescribe a bunch of turning drills for you, just to try to get that lower body working with the implement a little bit better. But yeah, same thing. Left heel comes down, left leg straightens out. You kind of pull back with that left shoulder a little bit. Knee's going, but the foot is still kind of lagging behind. Pretty much standing straight up. And then same thing, left leg straight, not much bend in this left leg. Like I said, you want to think about kind of dropping that left knee down to 180. And then the direction of the energy of the ball is a little funky here. And then you kind of have the same thing where you catch deeper, but there's really no separation between the hips and the shoulders in this catch. Not saying you want to try to create separation with the hips, but if you do it right, there will be separation. So it's kind of one of those weird things where, like, you don't want to think about doing it, but if you do it right, it will happen. But you catch deeper, but like I said, not much separation. So then same thing is going to happen. This left side is going to kind of tighten up. And your right leg is working better here. We need to get this sort of motion and movement earlier in the throw. And then you're really pulling back on that left side. And as you can see, you kind of finish super across the body, super over the left shoulder. And it looks like you should be throwing down this sector line, but instead the hammer goes down the left sector line, because that's once again a sign that the left side's pulling a good bit. So Dillon, lots to process here. This first technical analysis is mostly for me to get an idea of what I think you need to work on. And it can kind of, like I said, give you some insights and some cues to figure out along the way, and some ideas to work on. But like I said, the biggest thing for you, I think, is just learning how to turn that lower body with the hammer and relax the shoulders a little bit. The more we can relax those shoulders, the easier it's going to be for those legs to turn with the hammer. So hopefully that helps. I'll be sending out your first program in a little while here. So if anybody else out there would like a technical analysis, or would like some online coaching services, online throws programming, throws lifting, throwing, lifting, whatever, doesn't matter, technical analysis, I do it all. Coaching site is down currently because I'm revamping some things. So slide in my DMs, go to Sean__Don_ on Instagram, or go to sdonnelly757@gmail.com and shoot me an email, and let me know if you would like a technical analysis, or slide in the comment section down below, say what's up. Happy to help. So thanks for watching. Until next time, Sean Don, peace and out.